Professor Marston and the Wonder Women is directed by Angela Robinson and stars Luke Evans as Professor Marston, a professor who teaches the disk theory and also created the lie detector test. The disk theory, of course, is an abbreviation that stands for dominance, inducement, submission, compliance. And he also created the Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman. I'm so sorry I had to see that. That was a fault of mine. I didn't mean to put that in the video. And this is about his unconventional relationship in his family more than anything else. He had a wife, played in this movie by Rebecca Hall, and a lover in the family whose name was Olive, played by Bella Heathcote. And it's about their unconventional relationship in a time where that was just unacceptable. You just couldn't live like this. The movie deals with that and the society at the time, and how these women impacted the creation of this character more than it actually deals with the character of Wonder Woman herself. From start to finish, this film had me interested. I really wanted to know the kind of thought that went into this, how this man came up with this character. This film is very interesting in terms of exploring that. The performances, honestly, are what carry this movie a lot, because if it weren't for those, this movie would not be half as good as it is. Luke Evans is another actor like Ryan Gosling, who I mentioned in my Blade Runner 2049 review, who can do no wrong when it comes to movies. Even if the movie's not good, he'll be the best part in it. And once again, he's really, really good in this movie. And he does a really good job, and you really feel for him in moments where things are going wrong for him. And the movie sometimes shows you things where you're thinking, do I side with this man? But then as the film goes on, you do side with him, and it gets very emotional at points. Rebecca Hall in this movie is award-worthy. Her performance was incredible. This is the best I've ever seen her in anything, and I've seen her in a few things by now. Her performance was great. She's the emotional anchor of this movie. Not essentially the dramatic anchor, we'll get to that in a second, but her scenes where you're required to have an emotional response, she did an incredible job with. Which brings me to the dramatic heft of this movie. This is where Bella Heathcote comes in, because she's essentially like a MacGuffin of this film. She's a big part of the movie, but she's the one who really starts this entire thing, because the two fall in love with her and this starts off this relationship. And the movie over here gets more interesting and it gets more fascinating once their relationship really kicks into gear. And her moments in this film were great. She did a great job as well. The three leads in this movie, all of them, honestly, were fantastic. This is also helped with some very good dialogue. Once again, a very fascinatingly written movie. The storytelling, the way Marston tells this story, and the way it connects to real life, and what led him to make the lie detector test, and what made the test successful, and how he created Wonder Woman, and how his test and his theories and everything combined into this character. I found that very fascinating, and one of the most interesting parts of the entire movie. It is the crux of this movie once you really get to understand what he was trying to do. And all of the Wonder Woman imagery that you see every now and then was also really good. This movie is also directed very well, and just like Wonder Woman was directed by Patty Jenkins, Angela Robinson directed this movie. It's two women directors directing Wonder Woman movies. And I'm glad that's the case, because there's a certain viewpoint that Wonder Woman needs. And both directors captured that beautifully, because you see that in this movie a lot. As for flaws, sometimes it gets a little too slow. It is an hour and 48 minutes long. It does drag at points. It's not a very long runtime. It does have a few scenes where it could have gone a little faster, maybe skipped past a couple of things. Also, there was a editing style where it cut between Marston talking to the Child Service Association and discussing the controversial elements of Wonder Woman, the whole idea of bondage and her using her lasso and being tied up in comics. And that's a huge theme of this movie because it applies to Marston's disc theory, and which is interesting. It does, however, cut back and forth between years before and the movie's present day, which is in 1945. Sometimes it's brilliant. There's a couple of moments, like when a certain fist fight happens and you hear the person representing the CSA saying, violence, and his response is, "What of it?" And you see this fight happening and it's intercut between the interview. Aside from those couple of things, I really like this movie. It's a very interesting movie. You should definitely go check it out if you can. I'm gonna give Professor Marston and the Wonder Women an 8.5 out of 10. Thank you so much as always for watching, guys. I'll have more reviews up very soon. If you like this, please do subscribe. Click that red button there and definitely be a part of the cinematic universe if you'd like to. Please do. I mean, it's just a button. You guys are the best, and I'll see you guys at the movies.